All right, now that our pieces are leather hard, it's time to trim. This is the part I am most excited for because we are going to turn these sweet little pieces into monsters. I mean, they're going to be so adorable when we're finished. So they're going to be our little matcha monsters. I mean, that even sounds cute. All right, so I'm going to do the little whisk on a chuck. I've got my chuck here. I've got my chuck attached to the wheel head with a Giffen grip, and then I use little wads of clay. And here I've got my arms anchored, and I'm going to cut out the bottom. So with the whisk holder, what we want is the opening to be on the bottom and then also at the top. So right now I'm just cleaning up the bottom, and I had just that little tiny bit to trim. Now I'm taking those wads of clay off, and here it is upright. Now clean that up. This one is a traditional shaped matcha holder, matcha whisk holder, I guess I should say. I'm going to trim this excess clay off that I've got right here at the top. I want this to have a nice smooth line so that the little bristles of the whisk don't get caught on anything. So I'm just going to kind of clean this up the best I can, and then I'm going to remove that top. We want that top nice and open so that the center bristles can go right in the center of that, and then the outside ones can wrap around it. So that gives it a really nice shape right there. And then, yep, just remove it. And there you go. We've got that little opening. That looks about perfect. I'm just going to clean up anything that I don't like. And there we go. Our traditional one is finished. Now we've got the bowl. I'm going to check the thickness. I pretty much always check the thickness. I do this so I know how much to remove. I especially do this when I throw off the hump. All of these were thrown off the hump. It's a little harder to gauge your thickness at the base when you're throwing off the hump, and I generally purposely leave extra clay down there. So that way I don't have any issues with warping when I'm trying to lift it off the rest of the clay. So here I am. I've got little designs cut in it just to give it added texture. I love the way glaze breaks on texture, so I'm always trying to add it somehow, but these little lines worked perfectly this time, and then also it'll make for a great little face on the side. I'm removing any excess clay at this point. The bottom has just a little extra that I want to get rid of, and so does the side. I'm being really careful not to dig into any of those little lines I drew. Now I'm going to add a foot. You can see I start the foot where the bottom meets the side, and then I'll go down, trim this away so I have a nice smooth side, and then pick my thickness and then remove the excess clay into the center that way. I always fix the little corners of that foot so that they're soft. Now, if you wanted a foot, this is exactly how you'd keep it. I have decided I'm going to remove it. I want to add little monster feet on this bowl instead. So I'm removing that foot, and I'm just going to make this a nice rounded bottom so that 3 little feet can sit on here. I figure since this is a monster, don't we need cute little feet on him? So yes, I'm taking that red rib and just making it smooth. Now I'm going to take a little ball of clay, and I'm going to roll it up into kind of a dowel shape and cut it into 3 parts. So I like to use 3 feet when I add feet to just about anything. If you have 4, it's a little bit harder to keep it so it doesn't rock. 3 feet make it really easy to sit stable. So odd numbers are always best. Here I'm just rolling it in my hand, kind of getting the shape that I want. Kind of thinking curling up that foot a little bit. I'll do that with all 3 of them so they look similar. You don't have to have them looking similar if you don't want them to. I'm just choosing that for this guy. I'm going to score up the little dowel of clay and push it on there. Now, I don't score the pot. I don't score the pot when I add a handle. and I certainly am not going to score the pot when I add these feet. I know some people will score both, but I've noticed that you really don't need to. I've never had any issues. So I'm adding these little feet here, and I like how the bottoms of them just kind of curl up like a foot would. I think that's super cute, and I've got some ideas. I think a little texture added to these is going to be super cute. So I'll just kind of roll those up a little bit and smooth out anything that I don't like. A lot of times you'll have that little, I would call it maybe like a break spot. It's not really broken, but it looks kind of like a break. And we don't want that there, so I'm just going to clean it with like a paintbrushes work amazing. So taking that paintbrush, brushing in any area where I think a little extra clay needs to go, or if any of that slip has came out from when you were scoring your piece. I don't add slip also. I just score whatever I'm attaching and press it on. If your clay is the same consistency, you're not going to have any issues. So there you go. That's what I do. And then I'm just going to fuss with it a little bit because, anytime you're hand building, even though this is thrown, I'm attaching parts, you kind of nitpick them. And so I'm going to just make it and play with it until I like it, kind of clean it up, love the paintbrush. And then I'm just kind of looking at it. I'm getting some ideas. Okay, so I've got the spout right here. I've got these little feet there. Where am I going to put the face? The other thing, when you set it down, you'll be able to tell if it rocks at all. Like I said, with 3 feet, you generally don't have any problems. Now I decided a little texture would be great on the outside. I want him to look a little scaly. Since he is a little monster, scales are always a good thing. And I've got this little tool. This tool is actually meant to make a screw top pottery lid, but the outside of it is very textured, and that worked pretty good. And now I've got this little net. This net I use quite often for a lot of different things, but to me it looks very much like scales. So giving him some more scales, I'm going to take a dowel and really rub that net into the clay just so it really gives it that texture. You can really use anything that you have lying around to do this. These just happen to be things that I generally have in my toolbox. I use them a lot more regular than you would think. Kind of funny, but yes. On my next one, I'm going to use the same net and put it on my pot and then put slip over it and then pull the net away to add some more texture. I just love the look of it both ways, bumped out, and then also where you can actually fill it. So here we go, just adding as much as I possibly can, because also keep in mind that when you glaze it, there's going to be parts where the glaze is a little thicker, and that will hide that texture. So I try to add more texture than what I really want, because I know that it's not all going to show in the end. After I get done with this, then we're going to decide on what kind of face we want on this baby. And we also need to decide where we're going to put our handle. For the eyes, I'm just rolling a ball of clay, and then I'm going to cut it in half. But I'm not going to cut it equally in half because I want one eye that's smaller than the other. So here I've got a large eye, and then I've got a small eye. And then I have a coil of clay, and I'm going to use that for his eyelids. This is also going to give him a little bit more of an expression. So to attach any of the pieces, all I'm doing is wetting the pot itself and scoring the piece that I want to attach. Like I said earlier, I only score one of them. Generally, it's the attached piece so that I don't have to clean up any of those scratch marks that are left over on the pot. It just makes it a little easier and the cleanup less. So now I'm cutting some little jagged pieces, and these will be his teeth. So I've got these little triangles, and I'm just going to put them right down here on the bottom. I think he is looking so cute. And of course I dropped it. So now I got to make some more. But that's okay. We'll get him. So he's got some cute little teeth. Ooh, let's look at him a little better here. You can see his little eyes. He's going to score it up. Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. And then we're going to press. A lot of times I'll have one hand on the inside so I can press a little harder. So something to press against is always beneficial. Smooth his little eyeball because we're going to put a little hole in the center there so that you can tell that he's looking in a certain direction. And then I like to really press in this clay that I have above his eyes. As I'm putting these guys together, they're so cute, and all I can think is how in the world am I going to glaze them? Right now I've been playing a lot with our sprayer, so I'm sure I'll be spraying the glazes on. We do have a fabulous purple, and I can see these guys looking really cute, all purpley. But for now, that'll have to wait until the first firing. I'm getting these little teeth attached. I like them pointed up. I think that's cute. They're kind of all gnarly. And now we're going to get the handle. I'm just pulling a fast little handle here. I don't need a whole lot for this guy. I'm thinking that about 3 fingers inside the handle will work to grab it so you can lift it up to pour. And I'll also probably add a little thumb rest. I love thumb rests on pretty much everything. I put them on most of my mugs and a lot of things that have a handle. I'll attach that too. I think they look really pretty on most pictures depending on the style of the picture. But this guy, yes, I say yes to a thumb rest. And just this little handle, I'm going to pull him up. I'm making sure he's straight across from that spout. But I also want him to look cute with his little face. We don't want the handle to interfere with the face at all. So I just have to make sure that I didn't put it in a weird position or whatever. And if you noticed, when I attached the handle, I scored the top part of the handle. I didn't score the pot at all. And then the bottom part, I just wet. There you go. There's our sweet little monster. And here's all of them. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It helps us tremendously. And it also helps us know what to make for next time. Thanks for following.